So it's been about 2 years since I made a video on this 75mm whoop. This is the NVision Junior Racer, I believe, 75. And as you can see, I've got a red version now. And it looks like it's pretty much the same. This is from the TCMMRC store on AliExpress. The original, this purple version I reviewed 2 years ago, came from Banggood. It's no longer sold there. And I think that all those like a lot of these models that I think were made by TCMMRC are no longer being sold on Banggood. But anyway, somebody saw this on one of my previous videos that they were looking through the TCMMRC store. They're like, hey, is this the same model? And what's different about it? And what, in terms of like, is it updated, for being 2 years newer? So I requested to have this one sent to me just to satisfy my own curiosity if anything has changed in 2 years. And absolutely nothing has changed in 2 years. So it's exactly the same parts, camera, motors, props, frame, everything. It's just a different color. I think it comes in different colors as well. I think there's a black version as well. Yeah, so I'm going to just refer you to this video if you want to see the specs. The same motors, same props, same everything. But I thought what I would do is, since it's 2 years later, sort of come with, sort of add some of the stuff that's come out in the last 2 years to this model. So when I reviewed this 2 years ago, I didn't change anything. I just flew it out of the box like I typically do. This one, in this case, because it's the same model and I wanted to see if there's anything different. What I decided to do this time is it was kind of pointless to just fly it again as is, because it's got the same PID tune and everything. It would be kind of a waste of time. So I actually put a PID tune on here. I flashed BlueJay firmware to the ESCs, 96 kilohertz to see if we can get more flight time, etc. So basically, I've taken sort of the knowledge of the last 2 years in advancements in firmware, etc., and applied it to this model, which is exactly the same as this one except for the color, and see if there's any real difference in performance. Ultimately, I think the biggest advantage is the BlueJay firmware and the 96 kilohertz. It does add a little bit more flight time. I did fly with this 3S450. I think I flew with this one as well before, so I am getting a little bit more flight time now compared to this one, but it's not huge. And obviously the performance is the same motors, same KV, same props, same weight. It's there's no real improvement in the performance. You just get a little bit more efficiency with the newer ESC firmware and slightly different PID tune, but ultimately the bottom line is this is kind of heavy. So let me just show you how much this thing weighs. So it's coming in at 54.7 grams, and then flying weight with the 3S450 is 95.9 grams. Now, another thing I did add was an express LRS receiver inside here. It's just right underneath there. So one of those ones with the, I think it's a Foxier one without it's like a flat antenna version. So that's another advancement in the last 2 years that happened that I've added to this one. Of course, yeah, you're going to get more range, and I think this is a FreeSky receiver in here, but it's not going to make much difference at the amount of flight time you get here. I think I got maybe like 4 minutes of flight time. But just, just to compare here, this is a Vista version of a Meteor 75 from Beta FP from like last year. And this one's coming at 57.5 grams, versus this is analog. And this is coming in at 54.8 grams. So this DJI Vista version is only a few grams heavier, which, basically what it tells you is that the weight of this from a few years ago, 2 years ago, is just a lot for the motors and everything. I think it's a similar motor setup as well, and this only being a few grams heavier, and it's DJI digital versus analog, so it just kind of gives you an idea of what's happened in the last 2 years. Anyway, another thing that's happened in the last 2 years is that prices have gone up quite a bit. So I think when this one came out, it was fairly competitively priced, if I remembered right. It was under $100, I believe, but now this one used to be, if I remember right, under $100, but because of prices of parts going up. This has now gone over it's about $120 now, so quite a bit more expensive. Not really sure if it's worth it at this price, because there's a lot of other options out there now. But I wanted to satisfy that person's curiosity regarding the differences, and basically nothing's changed in 2 years, other than the fact that there's firmware and other options out there like that, that you can get in the last 2 years that wasn't available 2 years ago, that might improve flight time a little bit. But other than that, not much has changed in the last 2 years. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Talk to you guys in the next one.